Okay, so today we're diving into donor-advised funds, or, as you probably know them,
The
DFs.
DAFs,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're sitting on a mountain of money,
Yeah.
nearly $160 billion in assets
Wow.
back in 2020.
Yeah,
And it's only growing, right?
and that's only growing. And the really wild thing is that 6 of the top 7 charities getting the biggest contributions were DF sponsors.
Yeah, talk about
I
influence,
mean, talk
right?
about a shift in the landscape. It's a big.
Yeah, that's what we're really looking at today, right?
Exactly.
Living up to their potential, especially when you bring impact investing into the mix.
Right.
Um, But before we jump into that, for anybody who might not be as familiar with DAFs, they're basically like a charitable savings account.
Right.
So you put money in, you get a tax break right away.
Mm-hmm.
The money grows tax-free,
Yep.
and then you get to advise on where the grants go.
Exactly.
It's way less hassle than setting up a private foundation, which is part of the reason why we're seeing some of these foundations even switching over.
It's that efficiency,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But the real game changer, I think, and what we're really interested in today is this idea of how impact investing can supercharge this whole DOF thing.
Right. Because it's not just letting your money sit there, it's actually actively using it to make positive change
Right.
even before it's granted out.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Think of it this way. Your money is working double time.
Yeah.
It's like you can invest in a business developing clean energy or provide a loan to a nonprofit that's tackling food insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just giving, you're actively building solutions.
Yeah, it's like turning up the volume on your giving
Yeah,
while also, right, getting a financial return. It's blended value.
that's the beauty of it, that blended value.
Yeah.
And this idea, it's not brand new.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book back in 2011 called Impact Investing, Transforming How We Make Money While Making a Difference.
Oh, yeah.
Really made waves.
I remember that one.
The authors, Anthony Buglevine and Jed Emerson, they had this aha moment. They really highlighted how DAFs could be these incredible vehicles for impact investing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were ahead of their time for sure.
they were.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
Yeah,
For all this potential that everybody was talking about,
right.
DAVs haven't exactly been rushing into this whole impact investing scene.
That's a good point. There's this gap between the potential and then the action.
Yeah.
And research from Catherine Pease and Claire Duffy in 2018 really highlighted this lag in adoption.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, why aren't we seeing more, action on this?
Right. What's the holdup?
Yeah, and one theory is that maybe the DF sponsors themselves,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are actually managing the DAFs, they haven't fully embraced the idea yet.
Right.
They're not necessarily all over these big organizations like the Global Impact Investing Network or the Mission Investors Exchange.
Those are the hubs, though. Right. Those are where all the conversations are happening, investors are connecting, the whole field is moving forward.
Yeah, but okay, that makes it sound kind of bleak, but I promise there is good news.
Okay, good.
There are some DAF sponsors who are really stepping up and innovating,
That's good to hear.
like FJC, the Foundation of Philanthropic Funds.
Yeah.
They're really making impact investing much more accessible, especially for those everyday DAF holders who are thinking about this for the first time, and particularly with this focus on nonprofit lending.
I love what they're doing with that. They're really leveraging their expertise to carefully select organizations.
Yeah.
And not just giving money away, but really investing it strategically.
Yeah, so it's not just a donation. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's this strategic investment.
Exactly.
They have this program called the Agency Loan Fund, or ALF.
I've heard of that.
So imagine you're a DAF holder and you want to support this nonprofit, and they're doing incredible work.
Right.
But you also want to know that your money is being used well. Through the ALF, you can provide a loan to help them really scale their impact.
Yeah.
And you can get a pretty competitive risk-adjusted return, like 3% to 4%.
And that's important, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about, feeling good. It's about making sure that the money keeps working towards that goal.
Yeah, making your philanthropy sustainable in the long run.
Exactly.
And they have some incredible success stories, too. Like that time they saved the Bronx Defenders,
The Bronx
a
Defense.
nonprofit legal aid group, from shutting down.
Wow.
They provided a $4 million emergency loan.
Really high stakes.
Talk about high stakes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not just about rescuing organizations in crisis. It's also about helping them reach their full potential.
Right.
So they gave this loan to PCI Media, a nonprofit media company.
Yeah, I know. PCI Media, they do amazing work.
Yeah.
all around the world.
Yeah, and they bridged a funding gap while PCI Media was waiting for a large bequest to come through.
And that allowed them to
Yeah.
launch projects
Yeah,
that otherwise might have been delayed, you know?
and it really shows that these DAF sponsors, they can be proactive partners, not just passive administrators.
I love that. It's like they're saying, we're not just here to hold your money. We're here to help you make the biggest impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't just stop there with these loan opportunities. They also provide expert guidance for DAF holders who might want to make more customized impact investments.
And this is where that deeper level of engagement comes in,
Yeah.
right? It's not just a menu of options. It's really working hand in hand.
Yeah, like tailoring it to their interests and goals.
Exactly.
For example, one donor worked with FJC to actually refinance the Tenement Museum's mortgage.
Oh, wow.
Saved them $2.5 million.
Incredible.
And really helped them weather that storm of the pandemic.
And that's using your dollars strategically.
It is. It is.
That shows how these sponsors can be more than just administrators.
Yeah.
They can be trusted advisors, facilitators, partners in creating real change.
So are you saying that DAF sponsors are really the key to unlocking the full potential of impact investing?
They have the knowledge, they have the networks, they have the resources,
Yeah.
but it's really about how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the real innovation comes in.
So what kind of innovation are we talking about here?
Well, one area that's really exciting is their ability to use their operational expertise
Okay.
to actually help foundations make impact investments.
Interesting.
So think about it this way. Foundations have big endowments,
Yeah.
a deep commitment to impact, but they might not have the knowledge themselves.
The in-house expertise.
Exactly, to really navigate the complexity of impact investing.
Okay, so you're saying that the DAF sponsors can be this bridge
That bridge. Yeah.
to connect the foundations to the right opportunities
Yeah,
and provide that guidance.
exactly.
Interesting.
And we're seeing some exciting things like FJC's partnership with Honeycomb Credit,
Oh, yeah.
which is a loan crowdfunding platform.
Yeah.
And through that, they're helping foundations invest in small businesses across the U.S.
So it's opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
Yeah, and it's not just about the big players. It's about making it accessible to everybody.
Yeah, regardless of how much you have in your DAF.
Right.
Yeah, that's exciting, but it sounds like there's still work to be done to get there, right?
There is. There is.
So what needs to happen to make this vision a reality?
I think it's not just on the DAF sponsors, though.
Okay.
I think the organizations themselves who are structuring impact investments, they need to be thinking about how to attract DAF participation.
Yeah, make it easier.
Yeah, make it DAF friendly.
Yeah.
For example, Social Finance has this UP fund,
Oh, yeah.
and they created a DAF lane.
What is that?
A DAF lane to make it super easy for DAF holders to invest in their career impact bond program.
Now, some people listening might not be familiar with impact bonds. Can you just explain that quickly?
Of course. So with a career impact bond, investors provide the upfront capital to fund these training programs for people who are trying to get better jobs.
Okay.
And they only get paid back if the program is successful, meaning the trainees actually get those jobs and their earnings increase.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like a win-win-win.
Yeah, so the trainees get new skills, better jobs, the government saves money
Right.
and sees this positive social impact.
Exactly.
And then investors get a return while also contributing to a good cause.
Exactly.
That's a really cool model.
Yeah, and by making it DF friendly, they opened up a whole new pool of investors.
Yeah, so it worked.
It did. The UP fund was a success.
That's great.
It attracted a significant amount of investment from DF holders, including one investor, Ted Huber, who was really drawn to their approach.
Awesome. So it shows that if you make that effort to make it accessible and appealing, there is an appetite for it.
There is.
Yeah.
And I think a key element of their success was that it had this grant-like structure,
Okay.
which made it easier for the DAF sponsors to approve.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's about making it, really DAF friendly.
That's great.
So what does all of this mean for the future of DAFs and impact investing? We're at this really interesting tipping point, I think.
Yeah, it feels like things could really take off.
They could.
But what needs to happen to make that happen?
I think it's not just about the money. It's about the mindset.
Okay.
Both the DAF sponsors and the organizations who are structuring impact investments, they need to be thinking about creating a more vibrant ecosystem.
So it's not just about throwing money at the problem. It's about being strategic, innovative, and collaborative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And recognizing the power that each of us has
Yeah,
to really make a difference.
that's powerful. But before we get into that, we need to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment to explore what this all means for you, the listener, and how you can really get involved and shape the future of impact investing.
So, we've been talking about this potential of impact investing, and I think it's important to remember this isn't just about shifting money around. It's really about a potential paradigm shift
Okay.
in how we approach philanthropy.
Okay, now you've got my attention. What kind of shift are we talking about here?
Well, traditionally, philanthropy has been really focused on grant making.
Mm.
You find a worthy cause, you give them money, and you hope it helps, right?
Yeah.
Impact investing adds this whole new dimension.
Okay.
It encourages you to think like an investor,
Yeah.
using your capital to create lasting solutions that generate social and financial returns.
So it's not just about giving money away.
Right.
It's about using it to create lasting impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where DAFs become so powerful, right? They can be these catalysts
Mm.
for actually driving capital towards these solutions that might not get funding otherwise.
I see. Yeah, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here, but let's be honest. Some people are going to be skeptical. They'll say, impact investing sounds nice, but shouldn't we just focus on getting the biggest returns possible so we can give away even more money later?
That's a valid question, and it's a tension that I think a lot of people in philanthropy are wrestling with. But I think the more important question is, what kind of impact do we actually want to have?
Hmm.
Are we just trying to put a Band-Aid on problems?
Right.
Or are we trying to really create change?
Yeah, if we're serious about tackling, these root causes of social and environmental problems, we need to be thinking beyond just traditional giving.
Exactly. And impact investing allows us to do that.
Okay.
It allows us to support those organizations, the businesses who are coming up with creative solutions, creating jobs, helping to build a better world.
So are you saying that impact investing should replace traditional grant making?
I don't think it's about replacement. It's about adding another tool to the toolbox.
Okay.
There will always be a need for grants to support certain services and needs, but impact investing just opens up these new possibilities to really leverage our capital
Okay, that makes sense.
in a different way.
So let's get practical here for a second.
Sure.
Somebody's listening and they're like, okay, impact investing, but where do I even begin?
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
First and foremost, do your homework.
Okay.
There's a lot of resources out there to help you learn about impact investing and find opportunities that really resonate with your values.
Mm-hmm.
Organizations like the Global Impact Investing Network, the Mission Investors Exchange, these are great places to start.
And of course, talk to your DAF sponsor.
Of course. Absolutely.
They should be your go-to
They should be.
for guidance and support.
Your partner.
Yeah. And if your current DAF sponsor isn't really offering what you're looking for, don't hesitate to shop around.
Right. There are plenty of options out there.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask those tough questions.
Absolutely.
The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be
You're right.
to make smart decisions.
This is your philanthropy. You should be in the driver's seat.
I like that. So let's talk about some actual strategies that DAF holders can use to get involved in impact investing. What are some common approaches?
Well, we talked about nonprofit lending.
Yeah.
With FJC, that's a really great way to start. It's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Provides capital to organizations doing important work, and you can generate a modest return.
And like we talked about with the agency loan fund, it can be as easy as checking a box on your investment menu.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. But there are also opportunities for more customized impact investments
Absolutely.
where you can work directly with a nonprofit.
Yeah. And this is where your DAF sponsor's expertise can be invaluable.
Mm-hmm.
Right, to really help you navigate the complexities of these deals,
Yeah.
make sure it's impactful and financially sound.
And don't forget collaboration, right?
Of course not.
Working together with other DAF holders who might have similar interests.
Yeah, amplify your impact, tackle bigger projects.
It's like that old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly.
So speaking of going far, let's talk about supporting even more innovative approaches.
Okay.
One that I'm hearing more about is social impact bonds, or SIBs.
Yeah, since they're interesting.
These contracts where investors provide upfront capital
Right?
to fund these social programs, and they only get paid back if the program achieves certain outcomes.
It's a pay-for-success model,
It is.
which is a great way to incentivize innovation and make sure that taxpayer dollars are being used well.
Yeah, and DAFs seem like they're in a prime position to support these kinds of initiatives.
They are.
This is like next-level philanthropy.
It is.
But let's bring it back down to the individual DAF holder here.
Okay.
How can they make sure that their investments are really aligned with their values?
I love that question.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough to just say, I want to make an impact. You have to be intentional.
It's doing the research, making sure you're actually supporting the causes that are important to you,
Absolutely.
not just checking that impact investing box.
It's about understanding those organizations and businesses, their missions,
Yeah.
their track records. What kind of impact are they actually making?
It's like doing due diligence,
It is.
just like any other investment.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask the tough questions.
Yeah. If something feels off,
Move on. There are plenty of other opportunities out there.
this is really empowering.
It is.
It's like taking control of your philanthropy
Exactly.
and making sure it's making a difference. But I have to ask, what about the regulations?
Sure.
Are there any rules or guidelines
Yeah, that's a great question.
when it comes to impact investing with a DAF?
Yeah, and it's a confusing topic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
DAFs are governed by the same rules as private foundations, so there are some restrictions.
So no investing in your brother-in-law's startup,
Probably not.
even if he promises to change the world.
Probably not a good idea. But these regulations are there to make sure that these charitable dollars are being used for the right purpose.
Okay.
And when it comes to impact investing, there's this distinction between program-related investments, or PRIs, and mission-related investments, or MRIs.
Now that's where I start to get lost. Can you just break that down for me?
Of course. So PRIs are investments made primarily to achieve a charitable purpose,
Yeah.
more than to generate financial returns.
Got it.
And they're often used to provide loans or equity investments to nonprofits or social enterprises that might struggle to get funding otherwise.
So it's really putting your money where your mission is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
MRIs, on the other hand, those are investments that aim to generate both social and financial returns.
Okay.
So they're typically made in companies or funds that align with the foundation's mission, but there's that expectation of a market rate return.
So PRIs are more about maximizing impact, and MRIs are about that sweet spot
Exactly.
between impact and return.
That's a great way to put it.
That makes a lot of sense. And the good news is you can make both from a DAF.
You can.
Okay, this is all starting to come together, but I have to ask,
Sure.
are there any tax implications?
That's an important question, and it's always a good idea to talk to your financial advisor. But generally speaking, the tax benefits stay the same regardless of how the money is invested.
So you still get that tax deduction up front.
You do.
Okay,
And those earnings grow tax-free.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compounding your charitable dollars over time.
Okay, this is really helpful.
Good.
But I also have to ask, are there any risks or downsides to impact investing?
Absolutely. Just like any investment, impact investing comes with risks.
So we're not talking about guaranteed returns here.
No, definitely not. And it's important to be realistic about the potential for losses.
Okay.
Some impact investments might not perform as well as you hope or even fail.
Okay, that's a good point.
And that's where diversification is really key.
Yeah.
Just like with any investment portfolio.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket,
Exactly.
even if it's a really impactful one.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to remember that impact measurement can be really tricky.
Yeah, how do we actually know if we're making a difference?
Yeah, and that's a question the whole field is working on. There are no easy answers, but the good news is more and more tools and frameworks are being developed to help measure that impact.
So evolving,
It is. It's constantly evolving.
getting more sophisticated.
That's what's so exciting. We're really at the beginning of this transformation
Yeah.
in how we think about philanthropy.
I like that. But before we move on, I want to go back to something you said earlier about these DAF sponsors needing to step up their game.
Yeah.
What are some concrete actions that they can take to really help their donors embrace impact investing?
Well, I think it starts with education.
Okay.
They need to give their donors the resources and the knowledge to really understand what impact investing is, how it works, the potential benefits, and the risks involved.
So they need to be like impact investing evangelists.
They do, spreading the word, getting people excited
Yeah.
about the possibilities, creating a culture of impact within their organizations.
Yeah, and it's not just about providing the information.
Right.
Right. It's about building a community
Absolutely.
where donors can connect, share ideas, learn from each other.
They can host workshops, webinars, create online platforms where donors can access resources, connect with experts.
It's about making it accessible, understandable, and fun.
Exactly, because when we're passionate about something, that's when the real change happens.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking of real change, let's talk about the role of technology.
Okay.
How can tech be used to make impact investing more efficient, transparent, accessible?
I love that you brought that up because technology is already transforming impact investing.
Okay, give us some examples. What kind of tech tools are we talking about?
Well, one area is these online platforms that are making it easier for DECA holders to find and invest in opportunities. They're like these digital marketplaces, connecting donors with a curated selection of investments that match their values.
It's like online shopping, but for good.
Exactly. And they're not just about finding investments, they're about transparency and accountability. A lot of them have tools to actually track the impact of your investments.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So you can see how your money is making a difference.
It's like a personal impact dashboard.
It is.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what about AI? Is AI going to take over the world of impact investing?
Well, AI is definitely playing a bigger and bigger role in finance, and impact investing is no exception.
Or robots are going to be deciding where our charitable dollars go?
Not quite, but AI can be used to analyze huge amounts of data, identifying trends, opportunities that humans might miss.
So it's like a superpowered research assistant.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it can also be used to automate certain tasks, like screening investments, which frees up DAF sponsors to provide more personalized support to their donors.
So it's really about freeing up the humans to do the things the humans do best.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. But this is all very futuristic. I have to bring us back down to earth for a moment.
Okay.
What about the human element in all of this?
Yes, that's crucial.
How do we make sure that technology doesn't dehumanize this experience?
I think technology should be used to enhance and amplify our compassion and generosity, not replace it.
It's not about letting algorithms make all the decisions.
Exactly.
It's about using technology to be more effective.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah, and that means fostering this culture of collaboration and dialogue.
Exactly.
Where donors and sponsors can work together
Yes.
to find the most impactful opportunities.
And make sure technology is serving our values.
This has been an incredible conversation.
It has.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
If you're thinking about getting involved in impact investing, don't let the complexity or perceived barriers hold you back.
Absolutely. There are resources out there to help you.
Start by reaching out to your DAF sponsor.
Yeah.
Exploring these online platforms we talked about.
Connect with other donors who are already involved.
And remember, impact investing, it's not just about maximizing returns. It's about using your capital to create a better world for everyone.
And it's not just about the financial side of things, you know?
Right.
It's about really engaging with the organizations and the businesses that you're supporting, understanding their challenges, and using your voice to advocate for change.
Yeah, it's more than just writing a check.
It is. It's about being an active participant in creating the change you want to see.
So it's about using your influence, your resources
Absolutely.
to make that difference.
Exactly. And inspiring others to join the movement. You know, when you invest in impact, you create this ripple effect that encourages others to do the same.
I like that ripple effect.
Yeah, building a better future for all of us.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into DAFs in impact investing.
We have.
We started with, the basics, what DAFs are, how they work, this concept of blended value. We talked about the potential they have to drive change.
Yeah, incredible.
Through impact investing.
Yeah.
We looked at different strategies from nonprofit lending to these more customized approaches.
Right.
And we talked about the role of these DEF boost sponsors.
They're crucial.
In making it all happen. We talked about the importance of donor education, collaboration, impact measurement.
Yeah, all important pieces.
And how technology is really transforming this whole landscape.
It really is.
But, we've really only just scratched the surface here.
We have.
There's so much more to explore and learn.
This is an evolving field.
Yeah.
The more we have these conversations, the more we can effectively use these resources to create a better world.
And that's what we're all about here, right?
That's it.
So now we want to hear from you. What really resonated with you from this conversation?
What new ideas are you taking away?
What questions do you still have?
What sparked your curiosity?
Share your thoughts with us.
We'd love to hear from you.
And continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
And if you want to keep learning, we've got you covered. In the show notes, you'll find a ton of resources.
A treasure trove.
Yeah, to help you get started.
Links to great organizations like the Global Impact Investing Network, the Mission Investors Exchange.
You'll also find information on those online platforms
that we talked about.
Making impact investing more accessible
than ever.
So, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, explore these resources, connect with other passionate people.
And discover how you can really use your charitable giving to create a more just and sustainable world
for everyone.
Until next time, happy diving.